Today I'm hosting Des Ngema, right, who's done amazing work emakhekeni and with business, lamakhekhe in particular, which is very unconventional because a lot of people are thinking, once you start talking about baking and, they're thinking, am I going to make money out of that, right? And here you are. Not only are you making money, but also you are building castles. You are opening doors, which a lot of people probably didn't even realize they existed.
Absolutely.
But here you are. And I think what's important for me, really, what I really want to know is, where did it all start?
Sure.
Where did it all start?
Ngiyabonga Xolani. That is such a packed question to actually unpack. Ngoba funny enough, kulonyaka I'm on a journey ukuthi ngiyithola ukuthi nguba from ekusukeni kwami ekuzaleni kwami kuze kuzofika la izinto ebengiyithanda umndeni wami. So I'm almost tracing my bloodline through umsebenzi wami, ubumina, my gift, because ngiyakholelwa ukuthi lokhu engikwenzayo is it wasn't a coincidence ukuthi ngiyenza lo msebenzi engikwenzayo. uNkulunkulu into ayitshalile empilweni yami ukuthi yokwenzeka ngalendlela eyenzeka ngayo, ngoba ngeke ngibuke indlela engi-interacta ngayo nabantu esengahlangana nabo. Ukuphendula umbuzo wakho ukuthi kuqale kuphi, ngizalelwe eThekwini, ngafunda kaMashu amabanga phansi.
Kuphi kwaMashu?
Kadisi nqonqawe.
Uyamthinda phela basukhuluma ngoMashu. Mina ngifunde eshaya umoya.
Bukaki yabo. So ngikhulele kaMashu, into engiyithanda ngempilo yami ngine-balance yemhlaba yonke. Ngikhulele emakhaya, ngakhulela elokushini, ngakhulela nakule ndawo ekuthiwa isezibebs, kuma-suburbs. So kunginikeze ukuthi ngikwazi ukuthi ngibone impilo ngendlela ehlukile and ngikwazi uku-interacta nabantu abahlukene. Yazi nje ukuhamba ngoyihlalela noma indlalela icansi, oyiphekela umbila, sikhulume nje futhi ingxoxo ehlangene. Ngiyakwazi uku-interacta nosisi waselokishini, sikhulumele futhi ingxoxo nje ephilayo. Ngiyakwazi uku-interacta nayo yonke inhlobo yabantu.
And then the next thing, so New York.
From boardroom to wherever, I'm able to engage and interact nabantu based on just ukuthi ngiqhamuka kuphi. So ekhaya sikhula ukupheka kwakuyinto ekhona ngangayithandi ngoba umsebenzi. Ayekho umuntu othekhule ethi ngiyakuthanda mina ukupheka, ngiyakuthanda ukuklina, akekho ekuthanda. Kodwa uma ongizalayo, uma wayekade esebenzele imindeni yamaJuda isikhathi eside, so uma wayesiza endlini zabantu kakhulukazi wayesebenzele nje amaJuda. So amaJuda nokudla okuspecific abakudlayo ngekhathi ezithile, whether Rosh Hashanah lama holiday abo nje aba celebrate, uma is very talented kulokho kudla lokho. Yabo uma wenza ukid khale, yabo lezi zinto lezi ngathi zingqathu, lezo zinto lezo khala kanjalo. So ngibuka uma izenza lezi zinto zibe mnandi, ngibe fascinated, ngazama ukupheka nami kodwa ngangakhuthalele ngaleyo ndlela. Nongikhuluma iqiniso Nkosi yami, ngangakukhuthalele ukupheka ngaleyo ndlela. Kodwa kuthe base sihamba isikhathi sengithuthile ekhaya sengihlalela ngedwa, ngaqala ngapheka, ngamemba abangani bami. There's a time khona le show ka BBC kwakuthiwa come down with us.
Yes.
So sasenza come down with us kodwa as friends. So nje ukuthi uXolani uyahosta kwakho, uzopheka wenze yonke into mhlawumbe thina sofia ne dessert. So and then it got makuziwa kumina ayekho umuntu wengezi noma abe ne excuse, everyone will show up. Yabo because the food was that
great.
Did you
give scores?
No, but funny enough ngangipheka ngaleso sikhathi. Ngangingakenzi imbhako, yabo. And as isikhathi siqhubeka ngaqala ngabhaka ke ngayifundisa ukubhaka. Kahle ngangikade ngikwi-conference emsebenzini ngitsaka corporate saye eMagalies and ngafika kulelo hotel ngadla the most amazing red velvet cake. I was like, I want to recreate this. Ngabuya ngazama ukuyi-recreate le red velvet. No, akuhambanga kahle, angifuni uqamba amanga. And then I started googling ukuthi what makes ikhekhe libethambe libe mnandi, then ngathola lapho kuthiwa uyalisefa, room temperature ingredients, zonke lezo zinto lezo ezichazwayo. ngaqala ngapractice ngisazenzela njalo angakafundi.
It's not formal yet.
No ngisazenzela nje ayingenze bajabule phela endlini badle Nkosi yami ngoba basuthi bangithanda yabo awazi umehluko ngibona ukuthi hayi ngabe ngathi othi ngizama ama premix so ngangithanda le nge-English brand yakhona kodwa nje le yama scones ngifike ngifaka ubisi nani kube mnandi ngathi isikhathi ke ngase ngisondela kule stage lezi zokuyogana. So manje ke upartner wami oyethi amnala ama-scones akho awuwenzela uma yabo ngihlanganiseke ngwagwaqameze kwenza kodwa ngihlale nginalo uvalelo ukuthi ngelinye ilanga kuyovele kukhishwa wonke ama-ingredients kuthiwe na uflour na ushukela nakho ukuthi awulethe angeke ngaza ngithi ngoba i-premix ilulu ufake ubisi ufake ngase no kufanele ngikwazi ngempela ukubhaka from scratch. So ngayifundisa-ke ngilokhu ngiyifundisa ngithestisa abangani bami bathi mabethestile bathi limnandi lona le cake but it's just a mess. A friend of mine Juthandeke used to say it's a delicious mess. So lokho kwangi-encourage but at the same time I'm like yabo I'm a very competitive person. Mina angifuneki nje ukuhluleka angihluleki mina yabo ngathi okay if make come emnandi but engemahle what is it that I can do to make sure ukuthi I get the technique right. That's when uPrulith came in ukuthi angihambe ngiyofunda ngifundele to be a qualified chef so that ngizo understand the ins and outs of baking, the ins and outs of the industry. And ngaleso sikhathi ngiseThekwini njalo ngabona ukuthi yazi so ngangikabile ingxenye yami ukuthi angiyeke umsebenzi phansi ngiyasebenza njalo ngine-career corporate.
Maybe just there. Okay. Right. So uyasebenza. Yes. You're not focusing on baking as a career, right? Uyasebenza. What were you doing? I was in marketing. I-background yami nje sales and marketing. I have a business degree in business administration and bese ke kuba ile nginayo ke qualification. So at that point in time, just before you went into the pastry space,
yes,
ungala was sales and
I was
what you're doing.
Yes, I was.
Right? Because what I'm interested in,
yes,
it is that definitive moment.
Yes.
Just that moment where you said, "Flour."
Yes.
When was it?
I think ngilokhu ngihamba nalo leluluku lokufuna ukuzama into engeyami.
Right.
Ngikhumbula nje ngitshela omunye umngane wami sasikuma 30s ngathi mina 40 ngiyaretire mina ngiyoyisebenzela yabo. So every 2 years wayengibuza awusala mfethu usaka corporate kanti uhamba nini yabo. So yayihlala ikhona because ukudla bengikuthanda there was always something that drew me to ukudla, food preparation, food sourcing. I used to make it a hobby kule ndawo makuvula indawo entsha to go and check it out. Ngi-review it just for myself yabo ngihambe ngedwa bengikuthanda ukudla nje through and through. It's always been a part of my DNA. Ngangazi ukuthi kanti uNkulunkulu lokho ekhuluma kumina kancane kugcina sekuyinto engizoyenza ibe business.
I see.
So ngika-marketing nje ngisebenzela inkampani ezinkulu global companies. Right. I won't mention names, but I think most people actually know where I've worked because it's been written about in other articles. Right. So from there on, iloki ikhula lento. So ngekhathi bethi amakhekhe ama delicious mess kwaqala lapho ngathi yazi mase ngihambe ngiyofunda I wonder what will actually happen. Ngikhumbula at that time I had watched a fight Floyd Mayweather. Right. No, was it Pacquiao or Pacquiao? But there was a fight esavuka khona probably 10 years ago ngabo 3 sayibuka ka Floyd. uFloyd wawina. Okay. So mina ngiyazi boxing as in udinga nthobela mabe winile umuntu umshaye wamaboko uyabo uthi ayilo ushaye wahlula. But uFloyd Mayweather was just tipping around the ring yabo. But wawina. So I'm sitting there, I'm like, how guys are boring image can't be I mean, but then afterwards, by maybe interview, what's Floyd to win in any game? You have to know the rules of the game. So I wanted to know the rules of the culinary industry. I wanted to know the ins and outs of baking, food preparation, and I thought if ngilokhu ngibaga kodwa ngibaga kusakudlala akuzungisa la ngifuna kuyakhona. Ilapho ke ngadecide ukuthatha igxathu ukuthi angithola indawo engizohamba ngiyofunda kuyona. So ngabuka la KZN kwasho ukuthi izikole eziningi the culinary schools that were here were not offering a part-time option because I still needed my corporate job because ngaleso sikhathi ngase nginabantwana ababili. So ngeke ngivele nje ngishiye kanjalo ngihambe. There were a lot of things to consider. Medical aid, nje kuningi. So entrepreneurship mawuqala, there's a lot of uncertainty. So ngeke ukwazi ukuthi kuzokwenzakalani. So ngangifuna indawo ezonginikeza option ukuthi kube part time up until sengibona ukuthi lento is established, then I can jump. And I couldn't find an option in KZN. And then I looked at 2 places. I looked at Cape Town. In fact, I Google, ngathi mina best chef schools in South Africa. Kwaphuma 2 schools. Kwaphuma Iselwood, which is in Cape Town. Kwaphuma Neprulith Chef's Academy. It's the Centurion. And then I calculated, I was like, okay, an hour's, to fly out for an hour is better than 2 hours in Cape Town. Then flew up to Prulith, got interviewer, bangtata. They thought I was crazy.
To now become a chef?
Yes, but it was a full time.
Okay.
So I was attending every weekend. During the week, I'm at work, just up the road here, in Mhlanga, because obviously I needed the corporate job to fund the dream. Yeah. So then for a whole year, literally every Saturday, during the day, because it's a kitchen, a schooling. For a whole year. So I understand that the level of investment or self-belief or absolute madness, because people will think you're crazy. But the fees, the flights,
Well, what I'm interested in now is as you talk, right? Obviously, you found your passion on culinary. And you had this sales experience and all of that. So now that you were in the culinary school space, right, learning, what is it that you learned in the culinary space, right, that allowed you to have the successful venture businesses that you now have? Right, so I want to go to the skills. This is also with business. We're definitely coming to that. But the skills, right? Compare them to the skills that were already pre-existing in the form of the sales space. How were those 2 different? And how did you use that previous experience into the space that you now found yourself in?
I think what culinary school did for me was to give me discipline in respecting the ingredients, respecting the tools that I work with, respecting the environment that I worked in. A professional kitchen is not completely different, but slightly different to a corporate environment. It's highly pressured. Everything is now. It's about precision, it's about ukuluma, but also it's about honoring the ingredients, where they come from, how are they sourced. Because the biggest challenge that we experiencing as umhlaba, besides izimpi lezi ezenzekalayo, is food sustainability. How do we then use ingredients okupheka okubhaka with respect, honoring them and honoring the earth? That's what the culinary school taught me. So from understanding that discipline, then I could apply the marketing strategy and everything else, because now how do you run a kitchen? You control wastage. How do you run a kitchen and make sure that the people that are working within a limited space are efficient, they're productive? So it allowed, and also because you're working with recipes that are in metric scales, 200 grams is 200 grams. You're not going to be creative with namhlanje ngifuna ukufaka u350 ngifuna ukubona uzwenze njani, because again the value and the quality that you're learning, there's consistency. If you go to your favorite steakhouse, you go there because you know your steak will be a particular way. You'll ask for a medium rare, it will be done. If you go to your favorite ndao, you go back there because there is consistency in either service or in the product experience itself. So that is exactly what it taught me, because I remember when I came for my interview, my HOD was, why do you want to do this? I was like, oh, I'm creative. I hear that, but do you realize, Guti, this is repeats after repeats. So you can make one dish for the rest of the year, and that dish has to taste the same every single time. So then that's where you get recipes. They guide you, that you are able to execute that consistency.
You know, there's you said something about respecting the ingredients.
Yeah.
Elalela. Some of us but really the discipline that goes into paying attention to detail.
Cool.
You know, otherwise you figure slightly more, slightly less, it flops, that sort of thing. I want us now to move into the current space, the business that you have. There's Bake Cafe, there's Bake Academy, right? That Des Bake Cafe, what is it about?
Okay.
Right.
So maybe Angalela to just explain the business itself.
Okay.
So Des Baked is, I call it the mother brand.
Right.
So the umbrella.
Yes.
You know, like Checkers, You Save. So Des Baked is the umbrella, and under Des Baked there are 3 pillars. So one is retail, that's where Des Baked Cafe will fall under. The second pillar is training, that's where Des Baked Academy falls under. So the accredited training, skills sharing. So basically I'm taking the expertise that are coming from what I know into sharing with other people in the second pillar. And the third pillar is bespoke celebrations, and that is more around the beautiful cake that you want for yourself because you're having a milestone celebration. Maybe you've just closed a big deal, you want to celebrate that. Maybe you want to celebrate a loved one where you say to me, Chef Des, create a work of art for me. So those are the 3 pillars, and each pillar is represented differently in terms of the books now. Retail is low margin, high volume. It's about getting cake slices, coffee. It's quick, it's in and out. People are not spending a lot of time making a decision around that. Okay. And competition is heavy because coffee here, coffee there, it's everywhere. It's retail. But what retail does for Des Baked, it allows people to experience our products at a low scale or low risk. So for example, if you're then now going to make a decision to invest in a custom cake that will cost you slightly a few thousands, you've tasted the product, you know the quality, so you know what will be delivered on the other end.
Right.
The second pillar, which is training and accreditation, I call that low volume, as in there's less happening, but it's a mid to high margin in terms of what the business can yield from it, right? And then the third pillar, which is bespoke celebration, it's low volume and high margin, going to ultra high margin. There's less happening in this third pillar because you can't overly scale custom work. It's like someone who's an artist who do a portrait. They can only do so many portraits that really are meaningful and significant pieces of work, you know. But obviously, because there's a lot of time that's involved here, then the margin also represents that.
That's very interesting for me. Very, very interesting for me. Des Baked Cafe, right? Here I am, I'm at home. I'm thinking of maybe going for coffee, we have cake, that sort of thing, right? What really distinguishes your brand from any other brand that is out there, probably maybe trying to do the same thing or in the same space? What's different about your offering?
I think what makes the offering different is the quality of the output. You know, we, as much as I said it's low volume, I said it's high volume and mid margin, but the quality is still there. The quality is incredible. It's cakes that are custom made from scratch. We don't use a premix. And I think people that have a palate for what we do, they appreciate that more. Right. There are people that just want a piece of cake. They don't really care where it comes from. But there are people that want a Des Baked cake because maybe you're having a bad day. Yeah, but we've just had a meeting that didn't go well. Boss child is not feeling well, and you're just like, you know what? because at the end of the day, siyabantu, and food is about comfort. So our cakes give you that. Whether you're buying one slice, just for that, it suits your soul. So for me, it's always been that my work is more of, each product has an emotional benefit and a functional benefit. I always want to think that my product or what I do has more of an emotional benefit than a functional benefit. Yes, it's a cake. Yes, it's delicious. It is sweet. But how do you feel?
I was about to say,
when you're having a cake or after. No, how do you feel? I mean, I have people just like, because they know what they will find. And I think that's where my marketing background came in. Uguti, you are able to make a person or a client, a customer, connect with what you do at an emotional level. And if you're able to connect to someone at an emotional level, then you're able to actually get loyalty out of that person.
Very, very interesting.
Yeah.
I can now see, the distinction I can make between that time when you were in the sales and marketing space and your passion where you are in the culinary space now.
Yeah.
The way you describe ukudla. To me, it does. Ikeke, nalya, ngiyaphuza, ngiyadla. That's it. Ngiyolala. But sitting here with you, it's like, no. Let's have a bonding
we
session.
We honor the cake.
We honor the cake.
Yes, we do.
Hloniphi cake.
No, hloniphi cake.
You don't just, oh wow.
No, it is. And I think that is one thing that has given me an edge or a differentiator, because I came in understanding that a product delivers more than just the functional aspect of it. It delivers the emotional, it's like the crew or Budilaba that are behind the scenes. They love those cameras because they know. But there was just the thing, maybe it will faster, more brighter. Angwazi ama-camera but ngizama ukwenza umzekelo ukuthi it's always about that. And the moment you realize ukuthi you're not selling the product, you're selling emotions, then kulula. So I always say ukuthi in my business, if undodakazi efike ezothenga icake elithengela ubaba noma elithengela ubaba afike Des ubaba is turning 70 simenzela into encane ekhaya sifuna icake ngichazele ngobaba. Okay, silenze icake. Yazi it's not about the cake. Umyalezo uthi ngiyakuthanda baba. Ngiyakubona baba. Uyiqhawe empilweni yami, ungikhulisile, kunezimpo oyilwile, ulwela ukuthi thina sibe nekusasa eliqhakazile.
I just want to pick up on what you've just said.
Yeah.
Because your statement, I did tell you about it earlier.
Yeah.
I loved it, Uti. I'm not in the business of making cakes. I'm in the business of making memories.
Absolutely. That's the business that I'm in. And the business of making memories opens doors. And I'll explain why.
Right. If
you're focusing a lot on the functional benefits of your product, you lock yourself. Kahle, my vision statement is to bring excitement, joy, share skills through culinary experiences. That's the vision for this bake. Akukho la ngithi khona baking. Culinary experiences, which allows me as a business, when I grow or scale or go to the next level, to do anything within a culinary space. So vision statement yami is my guiding point. Compass engiyiphethe ezongishola ukuthi ngiya ngakuphi. So the very same thing on my belief ukuthi angeke ebhizinisini lamakhekhe ngisebhizinisini lokucelebrate ama memories and milestones allows me to be in any space. So it's about that. It's about broadening your reach without limiting yourself as a business and understanding it. If you're talking about celebrating milestones, where else can I go?
Right. I love your philosophy. I love how you look at food, culinary. You know, it's not just food; it's a part of you.
Big,
right? So when you consume, you're not just consuming for functional reasons, but you know, and I'm sure mzoekhaya namhlanje. And I'm sure ngizodlula ka-Woolies, well, kusasa kuzobu-Des.
Uzodlula kuphi?
Sorry, Des baked, sorry.
Thank you.
Des baked.
Hey, yay.
Des but you know,
no,
really,
but I get you.
I love how you've described this, and I'm sitting here and I'm thinking, kusho ukuthi bengikudla kabi ukudla, basically. Bengidla nje and not, you know, engage like seriously. So now I want to take all of this, what you've said and how you've articulated it in a way that really makes it resonates with me, it does. There is a young person out there, right, who could be looking into this particular space, but not really sure, do I not, right? And what you've just said right now, they'll probably be watching Education Matters podcast, right? But there is a particular message that perhaps I think if it came from you, some form of motivation, some form of, hey, wake up, you can do this, right? To follow your passion, right? Because you had to make a decision at some point between the corporate space and your passion, right? A lot of kids, matric out to be a musician. Uma athi sizodlana la ekhaya sizodlana, you know, and yet when you look around, khona Black Coffee, khona Shimza, khona who are doing extremely well, right, because they're following their passion. So what would be your motivation and advice to a young person probably gearing towards coming into the space that you're in?
Okay, so ngizoqala ngokuthi nje education matters.
It does.
It matters. We can't dispute that.
Right.
And if I say education, I want to be very clear.
Please.
It's both academic. Actually, when I say education, it's opening yourself up to have a teachable spirit. It's about being hungry for knowledge.
Right.
There might be someone who's out there, osekhaya, othi ngiyafuna ukuyenza lento kodwa ngiqalapha anginawo lama hundreds and thousands afuna ama culinary schools, because culinary schools are expensive. Let's not beat around the bush about that. But you can start on YouTube, follow people. You can go to your local library, get recipe books, read books, funda thole incwadi ezabhalwa abantu abakulomkhakha ufunda. You will be surprised how much information you can pick up in a year if you were to do that. In fact, you'll be well versed in the subject or in the industry over and above umuntu oyifundele leyo nto. Yabo. So then you get to know different chefs, what they do, what was the style sabo, and from there on, it's okay. So sengifuna we understand that's one way of looking at it. Okunye if indlela ikhona namandla evuma, then go the traditional route, uye a culinary school.
Right.
But one thing I want to encourage, especially about lomkhakha, because lomkhakha unzima.
Yeah.
It's tricky in a lot of ways, that it's hard labor. It's something that you must go into it ngoba uyithanda ngempela.
Right.
Hayi ngoba uthi ngiyozama ngizobona. No. Ngoba udle emzimbeni. You on your feet, your back is sore. Udle emzimbeni ukudla ngaphakathi. Mangisi ukudla ngaphakathi, it's something that you love. You're doing it with a passion. Yabo mawenza into ungayi ukudla kuyazwakala makwenza ungathandi. Yabo. So it's an industry that funa zibuze ukuthi sho ngiyayithanda, ngiyowela emkhontweni wami yini mangena kule industry. Because they look. So that if kuleyo mbuzo mayibuze yona, impendulo yakho yes, then you can bear whatever it is that comes with it. That's one. Yeah. So educate yourself about the industry that you're going into and why ufuna ukungena khona. Two, be very clear about, once you understand the industry, be very clear ukuthi i-gap, or maybe qala umuku ukuthi i-gap ingakuphi, mina ngayimpintsha kuphi la ukuze ngibe successful. Yabo. Ngizongena ngibhaka izinkwa, noma ngizongena ngibhaka amakhekhe, noma ngizosupply amahhotela, noma mina ngifuna ukusupply izikole, ngoba you have to find a way to differentiate yourself. I think in this case esiningi eshayayo ukuthi ngiyabona ubhuqelani uright uya broadcaster MC presents nami ngakwenza sure but are you going for corporate? Are you going for community radio? Are you going for independent platforms? Ikuphi lokho okufunayo wena? Because once you clear ukuthi mina naba abantu bami nayi into I'm going for kuba lula. Mina zisuka ngangazi ukuthi I want to do high end makhekhe, I want a particular target market. So angikaze ngidideke. So lokho kwangiforce kwi background because it goes back to you then now ukuthi if ngifuna ukuba high end clients mina funa ngibehave kanjani. I must communicate my tone as a brand, as a business, whether it's on social media, it's over the phone, should articulate that. Yabo. If I send out communication, it should articulate that. The products that I make should say, no, vele, I'm aiming for a particular market. Right. So yizo zonke lezo zinto lezo. So be very clear. Do you want to start off operating a business lakho? Ngase ekhaya kuphi ekhaya? Ekhaya semgababa. What is an average salary or basket spend yaleyo ndawo? Okay, I'm getting very technical here, I'm getting very marketing. But on average umama mayothenga eShoprite uhamba namalini. Uthenga weekly, uthenga monthly. Makuthi kanjalo of izinto ayithengile, how much are they actually spending on a cake? Mabuza abantu, how much are they willing to spend on ukuthenga icake? Then uyazi ukuthi umuntu mayethi I mean angifuna ukudlula ku-30 rand ngidayisa slice. Then you start to craft your product ukuthi okay, market time isho kanje, ngizokwenza into engizokuthi ngikwazi ukuthi ngidayise max at 30 rand, but imagine izophuma ibe kanje, imagine nami izophuma kanje for me to survive. So you can't just ungene ebusinessini ngemizwa. Oh, if passion yami ngiyayithanda. Now I started off like that. I don't want to lie. Passion is a good thing to have because it starts you off in a good path. But mawusuphakathi mina 6 months in, I fully realized that no, I need to know how business operates because I can be creative all I like, I can make all these beautiful cakes, but if I do not have a way of tracking my invoices, make sure the money is being paid, make sure the suppliers are being paid, little business will survive. Right. So I'm going to go back to sum up yonke lento esengiyishilo.
Interesting. We are now, sorry to just jump in, right? Because as you were talking, this question just came.
Yeah.
We are now at an advanced level, information technology,
right?
IT out there, right? So how do I, as a young entrepreneur, blend, right, my business with the social media, IT space? How best do I leverage that, the social media space, the IT space, bring it to help my business thrive and grow? And how have you done it in what there's been?
Okay, so that's a very good question because, I mean, ngiyakhumbula when I was in corporate, abantu ababona ama advertable and billboards was corporate because they had full on, marketing budgets angempela that thina ama business amancane asinawo. So social media has become such a critical and incredible tool that we all need to leverage as also my business abancane. Whether you literally like starting out or usendleleni like I am. Yabo. So ngingathi mina start where you are. Do as basic as you can because sometimes uzoshaya pressures ngiyibona ivideo kaXolani iyakhazimula ithi usebizo bani ukuthi bamenzele. No, une phone, every phone yakhe sebenza, take your product, shoot your product. Futhi mawusaqala abantu bafuna ukwazi wena msunguli webusiness. Khona lento etrenda njengamanje kuthiwa i-founders content where people want to see wena or want to hear your story of a business like wenze ivideo ukhuluma bafethu ngidayisa icathulo ngibhese kamashu or ngibhese Glenwood kanje na quality. That's all you need to do. You just need to put yourself out there. Once you usuyibekile out there, then you start to think ukuthi social media ngizosebenzisa kanjani ukuze ungikhulumele. Mina what I've done is obviously I've leveraged my marketing background. Kodwa one of the things engizenzile ukuthi ngibe visible njalo ngiposte regularly. But two, I've been very strategic about what I post and how I leverage the different platforms. Ukhumbule the different platforms akhuluma nabantu abahlukile. Abanje masubuya account yami TikTok. Right. Bakhona ukuhlekisa kancane because TikTok is more relaxed. Right. Ku Instagram is polished. It's a different ku LinkedIn. It's a different. Yes. So you kuqala ngokuthi ube visible, but you still need to go back to the drawing board as customers and as you're taking on orders as the business grow, to have a social media strategy. How am I going to communicate across the different platforms, because they have different touch points and then they have different, call it KPIs. How do you track you are effective? And I know a lot of people but trend or go viral, I must boost. Question is cut. If you're running a promo and you need more people to see that promotion, oyenzayo, invest in 2 days ukuthi abantu bazi, yabo. Uyihlakaniphele, ucheck ukuthi I know ngifuna abantu aba within 10 kilometers, ngizoyikhethela ngifuna females or within this age group, then bese uyakwenza. Kodwa ngizothi nje wena as umsunguli webusiness ziveze, khuluma, sitshele. Siwumphakathi sabantu ukuthi ibhizinisi lakho lenzani, lisebenza kanjani. Opha as much as you can. Uhambo lwakho nezinto ozenzayo, because abantu bafuna ukwazi lokho. To marketing, people buy from people they can relate to. So if you're feeling at hawuyazi, then people will support you. Or if you're transparent and you're talking about your product, then people will support you because you are communicating to operator kanjani, operator kuphi, what the price is. So it's basically what was traditionally 5 P's, right? Ngakwa marketing, place, products, packaging, Section social media wonke lokho, because now you need to show the products on social media. You place it by mina ke ngifuna ngilandele ikhathi ukuthi uposta ngobani, uposta ngoba isiphi ikhathi angikulandele. But also that's placement ukuthi when do you actually become visible on social media? How is your product packaged? If you look at our range, Yama Biscuit, we have a beautiful range of shortbread biscuits that we do, that I started selling ngisa sebenza corporate desk in lamba befika abantu masexago yomuntu reports ngimdayisela. They started off in a plastic pack, in a stick. But then I got conscious ukuthi environmentally friendly. I was getting more corporate clients. Ngayishintsha manje sine craft packet. It's more biodegradable, but at the same time it looks premium for your packaging. So it's all about that, to understand the market cycle and how you leverage. So then you take the very same product, you put it on social media. So whatever it is that you do or you start around social media, I complicate. Most people that have incredible following, that have a hook, they being themselves. Be yourself.
Keep it simple.
Keep it simple. If you are being yourself and you're being genuine, automatically people are going to be drawn. Gwen.
Wow. Kuningi. At the same time, you know, and the passion is coming through. Now, as we move towards closure,
yes.
Now moving away from makeke and right, I'm now coming to the person.
Yes.
I'm now coming to the philosophy behind the psychology, right? Uguti, ngempela. To be successful in anything, in any area, Ogion, there are basic principles. Abanya bawas, right? You are very successful. I did.
Yeah.
And that is why I'm sitting here and I'm thinking, are you sure you want me to say Hambawena, right? And it was the best decision for me because I'm here and I'm listening to this and, you know, passionate people by a influencer in one way or the other, you know. But now so the person, the philosophy behind, right, that keeps you going, because as an entrepreneur you are met with many challenges along the way, and that, you know. So what's the core message, right, to those who are out there in terms of things to do, skills to have? Because as you were talking in my head, I'm thinking passion, attitude, research, right? It's not enough that you love something, but research and get more into the technical, serious, you know, functions. But now, to the young entrepreneurs out there, what sort of skills, what sort of attitude, what sort of values should they at least have at a basic level in order to succeed in any field?
Okay. Uthinta izinto ezimbalwa.
Right.
So it's
it's loaded.
It's very loaded.
So let's keep it simple.
Okay, I will. So intshisekelo yami ukuthi ngiphumelele ebhizinisini ilula nje. I came from nothing. And that just made me ngifuna ukuphumelela. Yabo if wazi imvelaphi yakho, wazi umntula kwakho nokweswela kwakho, I don't want to go back there.
Yeah.
I just angifuni ukubuyela lapho and angifuni ingane zami ukuthi zibuyele lapho. Maningi amathuba sesiwatholile mina kulesikhathi ngiphile kusona. I always feel like ingane zami zizongibuza how abanye abazali behlanganisa wena wawenzani. Yeah, ushiyela siphi isinko. So my legacy or my drive is driven by the fact that there are things I did not have ngikhula that I wanted my kids to have and the next generation to have. Ukhumbula abanye bethu siqhamuke emakhaya amabhizinisi angakaze abekhona. Siqhamuke emakhaya where lokho esikwenza manje singabokuqala abakwenzayo. So we're carrying invisible loads because ngifuna odade bethu babone ukuthi hawayazi business into eyenzekalayo, into within scope for umuntu ofana nami. Hayi ukuthi impumelelo loqhubekela phambili kwezinye izizwe. Thina nje sabantu abamnyama. So mina ke for umndeni wami ilokho kungenzayo ngifuna ukuthi so qualities that keep me going as an entrepreneur is discipline. I am very disciplined. Angidlali ke when it comes to umsebenzi wami. Angidlali, and I think that's one thing. I'm very professional. That's one thing that ama-customer ami ayisho ngami even ngingekho mina in the room when decisions are being made ukuthi but uba singamthemba uba yabo ukuthi no, reliable, trustworthy, she'll communicate, she'll be professional. And if makwenzeka iphutha, which it will happen, you are humble enough to take the feedback. I-feedback ungayisabi uyithathe nje njalo ibabi njalo uyilungise uyisebenzisele ukuthi so when you get the next gig you are better. Abanye abantu just because I'm good at what I do, which I am, doesn't mean ukuthi iphutha ngelenzeke. Abanye abantu babambeka kwi-trap ukuthi mase kwenzeka iphutha but ngoba uzazi ukuthi ugood akafuni ukwamkela noma avuma ukuthi lenzekile iphutha ngiyaxolisa. Yabo. So I've always strived on building relationships nama customer. Mina ngiyena umuntu we once off. Mawufika njengoba uthe uzani next week? Mawuzothenga ikheke Desbek?
Yeah, sure. Definitely.
Just know ukuthi you're locked for life. Okay. Because that's how I am. Once a customer comes in, my intention is to retain you as a client for the longest time. Yabo. So mhlawumbe ungafika and have a different experience, but the intention that I have and my team is that we're locking you in. I always tell it to me, Tina la we are here uzobakhuthuza abantu kodwa sobakhuthuza ngothando because we're giving them something else. Yabonake. No, but so ngizama articulate in a way that they find funny and relatable ukuthi when you're giving someone a product, you're giving them an excellent service and an excellent product so that they keep coming back and coming back and coming back. So I will say discipline, being professional, and constantly ulambe for ulwazi. Ngoba the food space is very trendy. So there's trend every food imagine, I think it's even more frequent because every 2 months there's a new cake trend that comes up. So you have to keep up because if when you're still making cake that were made in the 80s, then you're losing about because trends have changed. People want mini cakes that they can take photos with. So you gotta be up to date with the trends as well.
Wow, we can talk forever. I can just feel it. And it's not just about the culinary space.
Yeah.
Your broad knowledge of things. It's very interesting for me, Uguti. Most of the time, people never think deeply about things. As I said earlier, I may have joked about it. Whatnot. But at the end of the day, really, passion from what I'm gathering here, it's not enough. You have a passion, yes, but there is a lot of work behind that passion that drives the passion, right, and lead you into whichever spaces that you want to be in, right? And I can see it, I can feel it as you speak, and I'm thinking, man, you know, this is ngizolihlonipha cake.
Yes.
You know, I have to have a respect for the cake. Noma ngilidla ngendlela. You know, you don't just wallow it and swallow it and you know, there's a but really I think what I want to highlight ukuthi ke simtholaphi uDes baked cafe, you know, ukuphi nendawo. And that's probably the last thing. So this is a was from you mangiphuma la ngemanzi
ngiyakuphi. Okay, before nguphendule lo mbuzo,
right,
there's a thought they've edlule emqondweni wami. One of the things about this culinary space or business or being a chef,
right,
it's an industry thing that I've picked up. Ukuthi sometimes we are not taken as serious as we would want to be, because we are not considered to be doctors and lawyers, and you know, makuthiwa a queue of people who are of importance and dignitaries go push udokotela nama lawyer first before push or chef. And this is something that I feel very strongly against, because cooking, baking is a science. It is so technical and so scientific. The amount of maths that's involved when you're putting together a 4-tiered cake,
right,
the amount of science, because remember, you're constructing a building, so you have to think about height, weight, stability. Those are all things that fall into the science field.
right.
Last year I was invited to speak at a STEM event. Initially when they invited me, I was like, but then I understood, I'm actually a cake doctor.
Right.
So what I want to encourage for the people that are interested in this field, and also for the people that in the field, don't allow how people view your industry to deter you in terms of how you carry yourself and how you perform. The biggest challenge that we have as an industry is that we have to educate and convince people of our value.
Right.
And if we're able to do that, then we'll be able to charge or retrieve value from the industry itself.
I hear you.
Yeah. Ngitholakala.
Yep.
We are based at River Horse Valley. But if you go on social media, all our social media platforms, Chef Des Ngema or Des Baked, you are able to see our contact details on TikTok, Instagram, LinkedIn, in terms of how you are able to find us. You can also email us, send us a WhatsApp. We're in a digital age now. Sometimes you don't need to walk in. You need to say, I'm having a celebration on the 30th of June. This is what I'm looking for, and everything happens. You want a delivery, we deliver, and then boom.
Wow.
It's all cake.
Wow. Chef Des, thank you for your time and your knowledge and wisdom and passion. Right. Ladies and gentlemen, there you have it. Chef Des, incredible business person. Join us next time. Sabonga kakhulu.